I'm thinking we're live here. It was spinning on my screen for a minute. So welcome everyone. It's like I think a lot of people just piling in. We've got nearly 500 registered for this call, for this members only call, and Robin joined us here as well as a surprise guest, even on
Look at
video.
that.
Twice in a row you're on video here.
I don't know, and I look like hell. This is me, no makeup. This is it. You know, this is the coronavirus right here. You see that? This is what's happening. It's just terrible. This is what happens when you self-quarantine. It's gonna get ugly out there, guys. It's getting ugly. I mean, like literally my hair, my makeup. It's like, you know, they're gonna close down the lash salons. It's gonna get ugly.
All right. So Robin, I know you wanted to just give a little update on boot camp, and then we're going to get right into the topic after that here.
Yeah, and I want to give an update on what we're seeing, because I think it's a little bit of what's actually going on out there in the business world, because everything you're seeing on TV, of course, is all consumer driven, you know, and people are being sent home, but a lot of businesses are being massively disrupted. And I'll just, you know, for us, for example, we here in Nashville, the mayor has mandated the shutdown basically of all downtown Nashville. So all bars, all restaurants are closed, which means all tourism has basically come to a grinding halt, with the CDC recommending no more than 50 people at a time gather. You know, we're seeing the entire tourism industry for Nashville, which is a big thing, just collapse. And the Omni Hotel, where we were going to hold boot camp, they laid off 700 of their 800 employees. So just let that sink in for a second, and like Ken Sterling, who handles all of our speakers, just laid off 20 of his employees. Our printer, Joe Sessions, is worried that we're even going to get print out, because all the printers right now are shutting down because people aren't printing. Everybody's panicking and they're in survival mode. So they're laying off all of their workers because there's no work to do, and they can't carry the debt of the payroll. And the last estimate that I saw, you know, not to be more doom and gloom, was that we could end up with a 20% unemployment rate in the very near future. Now, I know a lot of our clients right now are experiencing a temporary surge in business. People freaking out, you know, they'll trade toilet paper for a laptop kind of deal, right? You know, so that's, you know, it's good, I guess, you know, and people wanting to work remote and saying, how do we, you know, can you set us up? You know, I was talking to Bruce McCulley. He had a client call him and wanted 150 laptops set up and deployed by like Friday. You know, just impossible things. So there is opportunity, but I do feel like there's also a crisis about to hit us, all of us. And I think the IT industry will not be hit as hard as most, but it will be impacted, because if business is impacted, meaning they're laying off workers and they're closing their doors and they're bailing to cut costs, this is going to end up on our doorstep. So, you know, with us, what we're doing is we as a company, we are scrambling. And I actually, you know, I just shot a video up about what to do in a crisis like this, and what you focus on becomes your reality. And when people get into panic mode, they basically ask two questions, which is, what does this mean? And number two, what should I do? And if you aren't careful about monitoring your focus, you could spend a lot of time watching the news and being on Facebook and freaking out, and that just makes you spiral into this, what happens if I have to lay off people? What if we lose contracts? How am I going to make payroll? And you can start really getting very negative. And when you're in a negative mindset, you do not think as well as you do when you're in a positive mindset, right? So like I just got off the call this morning with Chris Voss, and he's helping us with negotiating some different terms, like our hotel contract, for example. Just so you realize what your customers are going through, our event got canceled. We can't hold our event, and we could potentially be on the hook for the hotel cost of $760,000 for that, plus all the speakers, costs, which is well over 100,000. It's like 150,000, plus all the sponsor money, which is about 1.7 million, 1.8 million dollars. So I mean, when you start, this is it goes to show how vulnerable your business can be. In a matter of a couple of weeks, we went from having our absolute best year ever. January was like unbelievable, right? And growing to going where we are in full out scramble mode. Now we'll be fine. And I'm not saying that to, I mean it. We'll be fine. We'll negotiate out of this. We'll sell out of this. We're debt free. We've been doing all the right things leading up to this. Will it take a bite out of our hide? Yes, it will, because if nothing else, we're not going to hit the goals that we had set. But we are hastily making lemonade out of lemons. And I can tell you that as a business owner, I am sick to death of getting all the freaking emails with coronavirus in the subject line. So I guess this probably was one of the emails that went out and I added to that pile, that shit show. But, I think the reason I'm telling you all this is because your clients are in the same mode that I am, that they're probably dealing with a lot of problems, other problems that I'm dealing with as a business owner. I've got employees that are saying, I don't feel comfortable coming in the office. So what do you do then? If you can't let them work from home, because not everybody can work from home. I mean, in our case, we were prepared and they're all working from home. That's fine. Some are in, some are working from home. But other businesses aren't. So what do you do as a business owner? Do you say, okay, we'll just let you take a hiatus for a month and keep you on the payroll? Do you force them to come in? And then if they get sick, could that be a legal ramification if you're forced to do that? So you got to understand your clients are dealing with a lot of problems right now, and they're panicking, and rightfully so, because I do think this is going to have, and I don't even know how bad the economic impact is. And so I think one of the things that you can do for your clients, and what Jeff and everybody is going to talk about on this call, is to take a leadership position with your clients and help them figure this out. Because everybody's offering sympathy. Everybody's saying, oh, here's little tips. Like, nobody needs a fucking tip right now. Like, a tip is not going to help me recover the $2.5–3 million loss that I could be facing, right? I don't need a tip. I need somebody to come to me with solutions. And I think good leaders communicate. So you have to constantly be communicating. So I know many of you have not emailed or even communicated with your clients in any way, shape, or form. I think that's a mistake. I think you need to have communication now, and careful communication. I'm not talking about some stupid tweet or a, rah, rah, hey, it's okay, we're all going to be all right kind of. But honestly, figuring out some ways that you can help alleviate the problems, the challenges that are out there, whether it is, hey, if you've got IT departments, we can give them the tools to work remote. If going to bigger companies with those kinds of solutions, or going to your customers and figuring out how employees can use home devices to work remote but securely, so they're not logging into it with a device that's unprotected and then making a bigger problem. So I think you have to think it through. What are the things you can do for each client? Reach out to them, help them put a plan in place, and put it in place quickly. Be a resource for them, because right now the world needs some pretty sane and credible leaders. Right now, there's not a lot of certainty out there, and people need certainty. And that's what this call is going to be about. Let's put together a plan, a way that you can go to your customers with something to help them out during this major time of crisis. So, with that said, I hope that was a good enough setup. I mean, I don't know if you want me to go into boot camp, Jeff, a little bit about virtual and such. You're muted.
If you want to just give a real brief update on boot camp, I know you've got a video that you recorded, so we'll get that out as well. But just since we've got about 450 people on, I'm sure many that are registered for boot camp.
Okay. So we are going virtual at the event, and this is not going to be a webinar. Okay, this is the one thing I'm about sick to hearing that. Oh, it's just going to be a webinar. It's not a webinar. We are actually looking at. We've got a couple options. We're not without options, and because we had a contingency plan like this in place, like what if? So we're not completely caught flat-footed. We have looked at some virtual conference technology that is pretty damn impressive, to the point where you can have a lobby where you can go and you can literally chat with other people in breakout rooms, have video conferencing, so you can see the speakers, you can talk to them, you can chat with people. We are moving it back though, so we're going to do April 8th through the 11th. We are moving it back, and this is official now. We are moving it to April 28th through May 1st. So it'll start sometime in the afternoon of the 28th. It will go to May 1st. You will be able to attend this event through any device, so laptop, phone, tablet, whatever it is. You will be able to give access to all of your staff. So the cool thing is, if your techs don't get to go out very much, they're still not going to get to go out, but they can at least watch a virtual session on, cybersecurity backups and other solutions. So you're going to get more. More of your team can participate. Everything's going to be recorded, so you don't have to be glued to your computer. But I would suggest that you block out some time. We will publish a schedule when we get closer. Just because it's going to be virtual, there's upside to that, in that we're thinking about changing some tracks. So we have a track just for marketing managers, a track just for salespeople, and one just for techs, and of course the main sessions as well. But we'll publish a schedule, so you can pick which ones you want to go to live, and then you can spend time in the lobby, in the sponsor hall, and you can interact with the sponsors, because they're going to be there and ready to answer questions and ready to demo things. So in a way, you're going to be this is going to be a lot more effective, I think, for everybody if you value information. Now, I know the parties aren't going to be there, and that's a bummer, right? I know hey, let's go out and have a beer, and let's go have a laugh, and let's go do the what do they call those, the pedal taverns and all that. Yes, I know all that's gone, but the information, the strategies, the answers that you're looking for are all still going to be here. And I still hold with my money back guarantee. If you go to this event virtually and you honestly feel like we did not deliver the value for what you paid, we will refund your money. And I've offered refunds now to anybody who feels that just by nature of it having virtual, they're not going to see the value. I would suggest that perhaps you don't judge too quick. Get in there, check it out, see what's there, and then make your decision. So yeah, again, April 28th through May 1st, everything will be recorded. Everybody will be able to give passes to your entire team, whoever would like to be in there. All sessions will be live. It's going to be very interactive. We might actually have more speakers. We're a little bit in flux with the speakers right now. Like, for example, Jocko is grounded. He will not fly out of San Diego where he is. So whether we do that virtually, or we save it for maybe a producers club meeting, or we do some other makeup like that, those are things I don't have answers on right now. But again, you have my full 100% commitment. This is going to still be an extremely valuable event. And you guys know I don't do things in halves. So, Jeff, any question? I don't see any questions coming up.
But there was actually a comment here, and then, guys, we'll get right into it right after this. We wanted to give you the update, but a couple of those about the breakouts. Yes, 100%, absolutely. All of the breakouts will be streamed live during the session. All will be video recorded. You'll be able to give them all to your staff. If you have technical people that want to go and review sessions, all the vendor booths will also have the ability to have live demos and all those type of things that are on there that you can view on demand 24/7, both during boot camp and even after boot camp for your team. And so it is going to be a fully immersive virtual experience. So if you've ever done virtual before and it's just kind of like the main stage live stream, this is not going to be that. It's going to be full everything from all the vendor booths to all of that. And so I'm glad to hear, Kelly and Dominique, that you're really excited about that as part of that, because that's a big part of it here of boot camp. So I wanted to jump into this and Robin, I hopefully you've got time to be able to stay on this for the call as well.
Yeah, I will.
I've really started with this, and I posted it up, and Robin already talked about it a little bit. I posted up an email campaign. I know I've gotten some emails, really just went and modified the QBR campaign. If you go under training and then how-to series, you'll see the resource that's out there right now. And Mark, maybe you can post that link in the chat if you haven't done so already there. And we've got some other things that Charles and Al wanted to be able to talk through. But you know, the main thing, whether you're emailing out and it's a fairly simple of just, hey, I just need to get 15 minutes, 30 minutes on your schedule type of email. You can modify that if you want to make it. There's no secret sauce other than just making you do it. Of communicate with your clients is the number one thing. I've had a number of coaching calls this week where people are just a little bit frozen on it and don't know what to do. And what's happening with it is that it's even causing fear of that my clients are going to cancel everything. And when I ask them if someone's asking them about that, they said no, but I'm afraid of it. And so they're not making those phone calls. And so get out there, like Robin was saying, of be the leader around this and providing them with value. And that's a lot what Al and Charles are going to talk about here. And mainly with Al and Charles, that they're two longtime Producers Club members. I'll let them introduce themselves for those that don't know here. They are two of our client coaches. Mark Sheehan is our head client coach. They've got a ton of experience of doing this here. So I'll let them talk about more of what those conversations that they're having are about. But whether it's by email, whether it's just by picking up the phone, you know, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be a Zoom call. It can be just a phone conversation, but going out there and providing leadership with them on what to do. One other thing that I would add on this here around your existing clients is that as some of the members that I've had conversations with of where a lot of their projects, if it's not related to remote workers, are shutting down almost immediately, or that's kind of where they're at here. Your project time, a lot of that, some of your staff, once they've got everyone set up that's on remote, is that you've got time to be able to work on some of those projects. Many of those, not everyone is losing business left and right. Some people are actually, you take someone like the virtual conference software that they have, this is Christmas for them. They're getting more leads than they can even handle there. And so looking at some of them, not everyone is going to be struggling financially. Some of them will take this as an opportunity for you to actually do projects because you know you actually have time to be able to do them now. So be thinking about that. And in one of the conversations I had yesterday, it was setting up multi-factor authentication, because now they actually have everyone that's going to be working remotely, and it's needed more than ever on Office 365. And so be thinking of those things, which that is leadership for you, that is looking at your clients as you are managing their IT infrastructure and everything that's going on. They're looking for you in this time. They're not going to be thinking about these things that are out there. So I want to focus first maybe on the clients, and I'm going to invite Al and Charles just for the quick introductions, but focusing on the client side. Before we end here today, we can also talk about the prospect side of that too. And I know Al's got some good stuff that he's been doing on the prospect side. So Charles, since everyone probably came here to see you, why don't we start with you first? They couldn't have come here to see Al.
Yeah, I don't know about that. He's pretty famous. Yeah, so Charles Henson in Nashville, been in business since 1988. And, you know, the thing about what we're doing is communicating. You know, we're talking a lot about communicating with our clients, but as a leader, you should also be communicating with your teams. Talk to your engineers, talk to your salespeople, making sure that you're communicating with them. Don't just leave them hanging and wondering. And so we'll get into that conversation in just a moment. So, Al?
Yeah, so Charles is exactly right. One of the things that we found early on, and we decided very early on in the process to lean into it, and be a resource for our clients is that they were hungry for information. Not information about how it's spreading, how fast it's spreading, is it here, do we have it, but what the hell do I do? How do I deal with this? They were literally frozen in place. And when we called them to see how we could help, was anybody going to be working from home? Did they need a way to communicate with their clients? They couldn't take it in enough. And they literally call us now all of the time. What should we do next? How should we be dealing with this? So early on, when we decided to lean in, it's been a terrific benefit for us. So communicate with everybody, all of your stakeholders. And your stakeholders don't begin and end with your clients. They're your people that work for you, because they've got families that want to know what's happening with them. Do they still have a job tomorrow? Are they going to be able to come in? Is the company going to be around the next day? And your vendors, they need to know that you're there, because ultimately your vendors rely on the income they're getting from you too, and their families are mouths to feed. So your entire stakeholder community is who you should be communicating with, and we do.
And I'll just add to that, you know, when you're communicating with your clients, a lot of you, I think you're stuck with, well, what do I communicate? Right. So, you know, first of all, let them know that you're fully staffed. If you're in the office, if you're going to be remote, just let them know that you're there for them and that you're getting an extremely high volume of calls if you're like us, and that just ask them to be patient. We're going to get to every ticket that comes in and understand that we're taking them, you know, in priority order. Jeff alluded to this earlier. Server installs and big projects have actually been paused, put on hold. But we called each client and said, hey, look, you know, for the best interest of everybody, we have a lot of people that are wanting to work remote, and this new server project that you'd like to have, you know, we'd like to delay it. And that communication is key. We haven't had anybody say, no, we're moving forward with this or else. You know, they're all understanding, and they're asking the questions while they have us on the phone. Well, how do we work remote? And then understand that, you know, you have to, when you're communicating with them, educate them on why they need to be practicing security right now. And, you know, talk about cyber criminals and what they're doing, as far as like an email came out with the cdc-gov.org email address. So spam is happening. You know, people are trying to get people to click on links, and understand that right now businesses aren't focused on security. They're focused on, how do I retain earnings? How do I keep my cash flow coming in? How do I keep my employees coming? So communicate that with them, that look, do your due diligence, educate your team. If they haven't been through on-demand training, offer it for free. It's very low cost. It's a value add that you can give to those teams. And then, you know, talk to them about, if they are working remotely, make sure they're not using home computers. And if they are using a home computer, then make sure that it has a firewall turned on. And what we're offering is our security stack. We're just putting it on any home computer that's going to connect to the VPN. I'm not saying you have to offer it for free. I don't want to go to my clients right now and say, I need money. I want to add value to the relationships that have kept me in business for many years. And then any on-site tickets has to be approved by one of the management. And if, you know, if a client gets upset, which we have had 0 clients get upset, they actually, like Al said, they love the communication. But those are just some of the talking points that you can talk to. And we've sent out email, and I've sent out videos as well. And the video that I shot, actually, I put in the text below the same message. Some people don't like to watch video, but, you know, there are a lot of emails coming into your inbox, COVID-19, but you're a trusted resource to these people, and they should value what you're bringing to the table. So just make sure you are communicating with them during this time.
Yeah, again, I think I echo everything that Charles says. It's really important that you are constantly in contact with them. You need to lean in and be a valuable resource. And I said this earlier on, I answered somebody in the Q&A. You're there not to take more money from them, but to help them weather this storm. It will lead to more money. I mean, early on, we've already generated about $25,000 in revenue from some of the additional campaigns that we've done. Not campaigns to drive money. There were campaigns driving them to get more information, how to be safer, how to be able to work from home, how to be successful during this time of great stress. And it's great stress, because the stress doesn't begin and end when they walk through the office. They go home and their families are concerned. Kids are home from school. They're worried about getting to the supermarket. You go, the toilet paper shelves are empty. Granted, I've got about 400 cases in my basement if anybody needs some. They're only $2 a roll, but that notwithstanding.
Talk about lumpy mail. You could send that out as a lumpy mail kit. Just Don't use it, just send it out like, yeah.
But point
We
being,
are the TP saviors of the IT industry. Free TP roll for anybody who signs up for a managed services agreement. Boom. There you go. There's your campaign.
so ultimately you want to be there and help support the entire organization beyond the four corners of technology. When we don't do QBRs, we do something we call TBRs. And those are technology and business reviews. And I underscore the term business because when we talk to them about what are their business goals, what are their employees looking to get out of not just the systems we use, but the trainings we provide and the other services that we give them. So we get to know them, and that extends beyond the four corners of the office. So being a resource in that regard is critically important because when they start to think of you that way, you're no longer a cost center. You are a part and parcel of the company in which there has to operate every single day, all day.
Yeah. Now,
right.
With that, now you know what to talk to your clients about. Get the message out there. Whether you want to do a video or not, that's totally up to you. I like it because it's a personal message from me to them. But then what do you talk about your team? You talk about, hey, guys, our cash flow is good, or we've got cash reserves in the bank. We're not going out of business. We're not going to lay anybody off. We're really busy right now. We've actually approved overtime without approval. So you don't have to get approval if clients need service. So, we're really busy, and, use caution if you go on site. Take sanitary wipes with you, wipe down keyboards, make sure that you have hand sanitizer with you. If you're feeling ill, or if you don't want to go on site, or, whatever that is, communicate with us. But number one that we told them is, look, we're going to get a lot of tickets. We're going to get a lot of calls. Don't be on an island. If you get confused, if you get overwhelmed with tickets, talk to somebody on the management team and find out which one of these should take priority. And we will help you sort through that. There is absolutely no sense, and I told my team this on the Daily Huddle, there's absolutely no sense for the work that you're doing and your workload at work to increase your anxiety with what is going on in the world, with the uncertainty that the news is broadcasting. Number one, let's stay safe. Let's do what we can to wash our hands and, keep distance from clients. Don't shake hands with them. They'll understand. But have that communication with your team and let them know what your plans are. So when we decided that, people could work from home if they wanted to, we let them know that immediately. And we put those policies in place. And we also let them know that, you're not to use devices that are not protected by our security stack to connect to any single client ever. And that's a common everyday thing. So communicate with your staff. You can't over communicate with your team because they're looking at you as the leader to help them navigate through this.
Right. So one thing I'm sorry, Jeff.
No, go ahead.
Just so you guys know, a couple things I wanted to mention about marketing and so forth. So I think first and foremost, you gotta hunker down and you gotta talk to your clients, right? But I'm seeing a lot of questions here just about marketing in general. Do you stop doing marketing? I mean, here's what I can tell you. Whenever something like this happens, people just, the marketing slows down, doesn't stop. Now, like, for example, Aaron and Jason, my sales reps' calendars are booked solid with appointments right now. Now, we'll see. Maybe there's going to be high levels of cancellation, but the marketing doesn't stop. I think, however, though, if you are going to be doing outbound prospecting, right now, what may be best is go to your existing customers and help them first. Next, when you're talking to your customers, it's a way of getting referrals without sounding like you're trying to drum up business, but who else in your space is being impacted? Like, if you ask me right now, I'd say I could give you the name of the person at the Omni Hotel. I could give you, who we have a very good relationship with. I could give you Joe Sessions, who's our printer, who's in dire straits right now, who can't have people working remote because they're not set up for it, so they're laying people off. I could give you the name of Ken Sterling. So in other words, like right now, I know how many other people are being disrupted that are connected to me. And And if I was asked, I could say, yeah, I know a bunch of people. I can make, if you have a solution, let me introduce you. Maybe these people, you can help them keep the fires burning. So I think the marketing needs to change a little bit, because especially if you're prospecting, you're cold calling on people. It's a little awkward now because they're so distracted. That's the main thing. They're so distracted trying to keep up with what's going on in their business, or they're, they freeze. When we as human beings, there's a reason why it's instinctual for us. If you see a predator coming at you, you stop, you freeze, and you don't move. And it's because you don't want to set off an attack mode. It's the way our brain is wired. So when we're confronted with fear, most people don't do anything. They just stop. And so doing a lot of the marketing, I would say right now, outbound prospecting and stuff, probably best to put it on the side just for now, because unless you change it, again, help your customers first. Get referrals. Who do you know that needs our help? Can you make an introduction, right? Third would be, if you are doing any kind of outreach, do it intelligently. So for example, if you have a client, let's say that is a manufacturing client, or you're like the dental industry, for example, if you're heavy in that vertical, think about what you've done for your dental clients and what's going on and what you're doing. And then you could be reaching out to other dental practices you don't know and say, hey, I know you don't know me from Adam, but we specialize in working with dental offices like yours, and we have just helped a dozen of our dental practice clients stay in business, work from home, not completely shut down, be able to take phone calls so that the admin is taking phone calls. At least the phones are being answered, patients are being, responded to. We can set that up for you if you're not getting that kind of support now. So if I was doing any kind of outbound prospecting, it would be something along that line. It would be an outreach of who do you know needs help, and what kind of solution can you bring to them based on what might be going on in their world right now. Direct mail might be tough because a lot of businesses are closed. People are working remote. So direct mail might be tough. Now would be a good time to be using email, of course, LinkedIn, social media, connecting with people on social media, messaging people on social media, and phone calls, because people still seem like their phones are being answered. So again, but just sending out like aspirin campaigns right now, I'm just going to tell you, you're going to see a dip in results because, again, people are just so distracted. It's like, I can tell you, like when it's an election, the month of an election year, like this year, when we get into the election month, direct marketing is just, Brian Kurtz used to run Boardroom, and they were massive direct marketing company. They said, yeah, election, like the month before, during, and after election, they didn't even bother mailing because they said people are so distracted that they're not even responding. So, now might be a good time just to put on pause, let's say, direct mail, but I would refocus. I'm not saying stop marketing. I'm just saying take a different spin on it and be intelligent with your prospecting and reach out. Again, get referrals from clients and change your approach to be more niche specific based on client case studies. So I know there's a ton of questions, Jeff. Do you want to add to that?
Well, let me have Al. Why don't you talk a little bit about what you're doing right now? Because you told me about it on Friday of what you're doing, and you're doing some great lead generation, not with the expectation of them becoming a client today, but you're providing a lot of goodwill.
So as I said early on, we decided to lean in with this, and we stopped all the snail mail marketing. And I love snail mail marketing. Don't get me wrong. It's just
right,
so
but
many
that's prudent.
people being forced to shelter in place. The mail is going to just pile up. By the time they get into the office, however long this is going to last, there's going to be a stack of mail this high. And all the postcards we send out, all the mailings, they're going to be standing over a garbage can, dumping that in, and outsorting the bills that they have to pay. So we've all but stopped the snail mailing, and we've resorted to just e-blasts and phone calls to the extent that we can. Phone calls are mostly dedicated to our clients. And one of the first things that we did was we did a notification campaign. And we actually did that as a result of doing our own notification to our clients that what we're doing in-house for this disaster, what we're doing with our people, where our systems are, that they're all up and running, that we were built from the ground up to be virtual. So all of our systems are in the cloud. We don't really need anybody in the office. And as a result of this, we've decided to shelter in house for our high-risk people. And we sent that out to our clients. And then one of the things we realized early on was that none of these people really knew even what to do about their own clients. Because when I called our clients as a follow-up and asked them, is there anything they need? They said, well, we really appreciate the email. We didn't even know what to do. I said, you know, this is a great idea. Let me craft a notification email for you to send to your clients. We've got a lot of B2B service clients. And so we crafted a notification email for them, and then we did a distro list on their Exchange server and sent it out for them. And then we built a whole campaign that we sent out to our few thousand very cold prospects, of which they all signed up for our COVID-19 campaign, which has 9 different pieces to the campaign that go out. So one's a notification template, and then we do a remote access template and remote employee monitoring and a variety of other things. But we've converted too strong. They've gone from a cold list of nobody we knew to effectively 300 plus very warm leads that we're not marketing to whatsoever, but they're now opted into our database. They're downloading our templates. They're reaching out about additional information. Some of them have asked about the personal VPNs that we're doing and some other things, but for the most part, we've gotten very positive response.
Yeah, so you've gotten 300 non-customers or 300 plus non-customers to sign up for that?
Correct. They all opted in for that. And it's, again, it started with the notification template, because what we found as we went through the exercise of our own clients, they were frozen in place. They didn't know what to do. They were too busy worrying about, are we going to be around tomorrow? My kids are not going to be in school. Who's going to be taking care of the kids? Who's going to go grocery shopping? Is there going to be anything on the shelves? Their employees are running into their office. Is there something that we need to worry about? Are you going to be in business next month? And so these little things that we were doing in our own business, it made sense that our clients needed that too when they basically told us that. So we then built campaigns around offering that to the prospect community.
Hey, Al, is that a number of people are asking, is that something that you have to share or?
Yes, actually I had if you go in the queue, I had posted a link to anybody who wanted to get some of that material. They can sign up for that. So I can hunt it down, or after this I can send it to you, Jeff, and you can send it.
Yeah, I can post it up here to that link to the queue on there. And so what that really does, here's the thing that I see on this, and from, you know, of going back, it reminds me in a lot of ways of when I had my MSP business, of where when we started going into recessionary times. I remember one particular week I had 3 clients. It was about $7,000 of MRR that went out of business all one week. And so dealing with that, of where it's kind of in that particular mode, is that when people get into this, they're not in the mode, especially this week, of where people are just walking around shocked about what's going on here. They're not in the mode of right now of saying, hey, you know what, here's a good idea. Let's change IT providers on top of it this week here. So you're not going to see that currently. But what is going to happen, the good IT providers that are helping them out to be able to get them to where they need to be, are going to far outshine the other ones that have bad service right now, that are not helping them in any way, shape, or form, that they're saying, hey, we could do just as good just having everyone grab their computers and take them home because these guys are worthless. They might not even change their IT provider right now, even when they're getting that bad service. But as soon as things start to turn a little bit and there's a little bit of sunshine that's happening, and they're in that better frame of mind, and they're not in that shock state, they remember of what's going on. And that's where you guys have the opportunity from a marketing standpoint, and just like of what Al's talking about here, to now be that company that was there for them, even if it was just helping out with some of these templates or things, to be that IT company that they actually remember that there was someone that was out there that was trying to help them, that was trying to, even without getting paid, with it. It was just free, great resources, not some big sales pitch around it that it was, of just helping out within the community.
So what a couple of the questions around this were, how are we getting that out? So we're affiliated with a variety of associations, including chambers and things like that. So we went to the association and said, listen, we have this. If you want to send that out to your members, here's a link for them with some sundry information. And they did all the distribution for us.
Yeah, and so whether you have it, I mean, that's great of having, and I know you have some of those things set up already with that OWL.
Yeah, we've enjoyed long relationships with them for many, many years. So that's not why they sent it out. I mean, if you talk to your local chamber, don't forget, just because we realize early on doesn't mean that anybody else in your area is talking to your prospects or clients. And so if you went to your local chamber, if you went to your local business associations, including all these networking groups. So they're not just networking group vis-a-vis let's meet for breakfast and trade leads. They're also networking groups wanting more information from people who are willing to provide them some guidance, daylight visibility into what to do next. And so go to them and first set up your campaign, make sure you have a landing page. I'm sure Robin's team can help with that. And go to them and offer them to distribute to their membership for free these templates or other things that you want to give away. And with one phone call to a chamber, you can have touched hundreds of businesses with one phone call to a chamber.
Yeah. So question out here that came up a couple times, and maybe Robin, I'll ask you to weigh in on this one, is around client newsletters, even asking if we're going to stop mailing the physical newsletter at this time. So they're looking for guidance around that.
Well, we are not stopping our newsletter, because the newsletter, what we send out is a very critical communication piece. I actually, as you guys know, I write it. I actually had one message written, and then I rewrote it based on just what was going out, so for us, absolutely not. I think now more than ever, for me personally, doing more webinars, more videos. I mean, we've got to put our mask on first, kind of like when you're on the airplane and, the mask drop, we got to put our mask on first. So that's what I've been doing over this last week. But now that we have got a plan in place and we're moving through it, people want to know what's going on. They want to hear even like my story, how I opened up today to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm very much, you guys know, keeping it real means keeping it real. And I'm telling you that me and my team have been, challenged and stressed. And I know have not been sleeping. I'll even share this with you. Nicole, who's my VP of operations, she's been quarantined for the last 2 weeks because her husband got coronavirus. So she had to immediately work from home. There's been panic over that. Then we've got the boot camp situation going on. I mean, it's been a stressful last couple of weeks. And people want to hear that. They want to know what's going on. They want to know how are you dealing with this? How are you dealing with the stress, the panic? We've had people who are more than enough. I mean, most people have been very like a champion of us and thanking us. I mean, I've even gotten handwritten personal notes from people saying, hey, we're just thinking about you, and emails saying, we're thinking about you. So I think communicating with people with what's going on in your business and what you're seeing out there now more than ever is important, especially to other business leaders, right? Because everybody's out there talking about, do I have enough toilet paper and chicken, and are we going to have enough to eat? But I think business owners are getting overlooked in this. Business owners are getting kicked in the ass because it's like they're expecting that we should all just shut down our operations, because if we save one life, if we save one life, and who can argue with that, right? If shutting down your business and going bankrupt saves just has the potential of saving somebody else's life, then you shouldn't even question it, right? You should just shut down your operations and take the hit. And as business owners, I mean, we kind of know, yeah, I guess that's the right answer, but it's a hard damn pill to swallow when you're laying off people and you might even be closing your business, and you've got thousands of people depending on you, and you've got commitments that you've made. That's, so what I'm saying is, yeah, we are keeping our newsletter going. We're doing more videos, more outreach, more posts. If you're following me on Facebook, you see the one post I totally kicked a beehive on one of them. And I think that that's important because you have to come from a standpoint of here's what we're going through, here's what we're doing, and this is what we're doing to succeed, to get around this. And you know what's cool about us, like I was saying, we were the very first industry conference to do a virtual conference, and that's the truth. We started doing a virtual conference 13 years ago, 14 years ago, when nobody else was doing virtual conferences. And it wasn't like really sexy or sophisticated, but we were doing it. And we've gotten better at it. And now we're going to lead again. We're going to lead the field now, and we are going to put together a kick-ass virtual conference. That is our goal now. And we are looking at what's good in this, and what's good about this, and where's the opportunity in this. And so I think you guys need to be that voice to your customers as well. So for us, to get back to the question, we are definitely sending out our newsletters. We are increasing the communication, not decreasing it. However, I would say if you are just sending out like tech tip postcards, or you're sending out a standard newsletter, that you might want to pause on. The tech tip postcards, I think, because again, people are so distracted. If you're thinking of sending out, I think it was Lisa, I saw a post that she is going to be doing a webinar coming up on HIPAA compliance. You know, what I would do is I would pivot. I would make it about how do you stay HIPAA compliant when you've got people working from home. You know, you want to, right now, I think the conversation that's going on out there obviously is all about coronavirus. And I think if you're going to be doing any marketing, have it tied to how do you survive, how do you thrive, how do you stay productive, how do you stay profitable with your employees working remote and from home, how do you stay safe? Come up with those solutions and talk about that in your newsletters, and talk about that in your posts, and talk about that in your videos, and do webinars on that, because that's what people want that's what they need right now, not like, what's the best firewall? Right now, like they're not even thinking about that. So I think you have to use discretion. If your newsletter is a piece that is valuable communication, and it's like kind of like what we see it and how we do it, then absolutely keep sending those out. I think if it's just a more generic kind of throwaway thing, then no, then stop sending it. Like someone had the sneaky duck campaign that they were going to send out, probably not going to get a big result. But maybe. I mean, I'm not saying don't prospect. I'm saying what I would be doing is tying it somehow into helping a business survive. Because again, somebody posted this, the radar view, the coronavirus impact index by industry. I don't know who posted that. I clicked on it. It was pretty good. Was that Tim Nyberg, I think, who posted that? And if you look at this and you look at, it's good because it shows you where it's impacting people. In personnel being a big one, right? Operations, of course, being another one. Supply chain and revenue. And so if you were sitting there and you're saying, look, and it's showing you, by the way, it's a good chart saying how much of an impact it's having. So if you're in healthcare right now, operations are like crucial. So how could you help them work remote or bring in remote workers? How could you, with their personnel, make them be able to be safer in the office? Maybe some of the personnel, they could work at a lighter crew that's in the office. This is what I'm saying. You look at this and be strategic with your marketing right now. Don't just kind of post anything, and think about what kind of solution could I go to the medical field. What could I do if it was an entertainment company, or if it was, if it's a law firm? How do we stay productive during this time when people can't come into an office, won't come into an office? Even helping people set up how to sell remote. I actually thought about doing a session on this. I wrote it down as an idea. where I could do a session really easy on how to do marketing, how to do sales meetings remote. Fire up a Zoom meeting. You could do pretty much everything remote. I mean, but teaching people like here's how you would use Zoom, or you would use GoToMeeting, and here's how you schedule it, and this is the best camera to put on that you have, and how do you set up the lighting so that the lighting is good? How do you test the equipment? And all of those things. If you could show people how to use technology to keep their business open, that's where you're going to win with the marketing, and that I would send out. But I don't think direct mail is a little bit iffy now. Again, like Al said, some people aren't even going in the office. Some are, but phone calls, emails, of course, LinkedIn messages, social media, any of those things absolutely would be ideal.
One of the other things that, sorry, can I throw something in?
Yep, go for it, Charles.
Yeah, so I was on a call yesterday with around 200 business owners. And one of the things that I talked to them about was, things are different now. The way we're working remote, think about like wire transfers. Wire transfers are different. So how is that new process going to work? Let's talk about updating that process. And then, what to add into that when you're talking to your clients, and to add what Robin was talking about, is you can leave 3 to 5 digits out of that wire transfer, and that is your new policy from here on out. And that's going to keep you from ever having a wire fraud happening, because everybody in your business and every client that you work with knows that you always leave those digits out. So if they ever get instructions that includes those numbers, that should raise a red flag to them. And so those are types of things that you can talk to your clients about, using LastPass and password managers, and just sharing ideas of how if two people are using, or if a person uses a password, what good hygiene looks like. This is a good time to educate them. A lot of people don't know what they should be doing, and their workforce isn't 100% productive. It's a great time to do on-demand training. If you can set them up, and I mean, it's almost free. Some of these companies are vendors that we work with are offering on-demand training up to 5,000 users, for $80 a month or whatever. I mean, offer that as a value add to your clients, and then offer phishing, email phishing. It's something that is great to test right now, and the users aren't busy, they're at home. These are all things that you can be talking about and adding to that. And then obviously, I already mentioned it earlier, scam emails are coming out. We're all worried about, are we going to get the virus? Is our business going to be running? And, what do we do about our remote employees? What's cash flow going to look like? We're having empathy on people and looking at that. Cyber criminals, these hackers, they're using this as a gold mine. They're just going to keep coming at us full force, trying to trick our users into, hey, can you guys pay this invoice? Click this link. Now you're infected. Now what? So it is a great time to be educating your clients and adding value to everything that we talk about all the time. And if you can do that via webinar, record it, post it up on your site later, that's continual marketing, it's continual education. I'm writing an ebook right now for those 200 plus business owners. That's got my name and my labeling on it. I'm not going after business. I'm seeing how I can add value to the community at large, period.
Well, and I thought of something as you were talking about that, Charles, too, is that when you're thinking of some of these other solutions that you have that now are even more relevant than they ever were in the past. And I mentioned one earlier that I was having a conversation with a member yesterday around multi-factor authentication and how critically important it is now, is that sometimes when you have some of those conversations, it may be on some of these solutions too, is that you're not necessarily going to do it as an add-on currently. It may be that you're switching things over of where, hey, because we're not managing all the things in the office and we're doing these at home, we're going to do this, this, and this, and we're going to add all these things to keep you all protected. And hey, Mr. Customer, we're going to keep you at the same rate of where you're at. We're not going to charge you anything additional. That it starts to take that away of where I think it's a real slippery slope, unless something that's drastic like what Robin mentioned with the hotel here locally of shedding 700 out of 800 employees. Well, their IT costs are probably going to go down if they've got most of those people on IT, because they just lost a ton of people in their business. But if people are just shifting doing different things. You've got ways of IT doesn't stop. The protection of their business doesn't stop. It just changes. So be open around that too, about being able to change up of what would be the right fit for being able to manage right now without taking any type of cut on what it is of managing, because the importance of what you guys are doing managing the IT is not changing. I did have one question that was a while back here, and I know a few of you, Al kind of answered this on here, I think, and Mark did a little bit, but I wanted to answer this, or I wanted to get your guys' input. Jonathan was asking, we're debating how to equip our clients with our proactive maintenance security monitoring bundle to home PCs for our remote clients. Does it leave a bad taste to ask them to pay for that prior to equipping? I thought I would be to offer for free until they're back in the office, then charge once things return to normal, and just looking for advice on that from you guys. And Al, I know you answered it on here, so maybe you start with what your answer and what you're doing, just for those that didn't see it on the chat.
Yeah, so no problem. I mean, we give away a home security bundle if they're just doing personal stuff. So we give away a personal VPN. And let me backstop that with a comment that I wanted to make a little bit earlier, which is we're like every other business. Right? We are now dealing with the fact that we may have issues financially because we may have vendor clients who are looking to cut costs, or may have clients that are going to look to defer expenses, or may have clients that are looking to do away with it. That's a fact. And we are like every other business in that regard. One of the things we also did early on is I reached out to my vendors and I told them, listen, I want to offer some things to some of our clients to keep them in the fold, in the nest. And all of our vendors responded famously. So one of our vendors privatized, offers a private virtual private network, and we're getting 3 months free from it that I can now give to our clients so that they can use that at home without us having to pay for it. We can offer it to them for free. So that's one of the things that we did, was speak to our vendors. How can you, A, help us if something happens, but B, how can you help us help our clients? And they've been all extremely responsive in that regard. So more specifically to your question, what we did was we have a personal bundle that we give away, and then we give our stack away. The setup fee for that stack we give away. We don't charge for that, but they do pay for the monthly.
Charles, how about you on that?
Yeah, so as far as like giving people the free tools, or the tools that are going to cost us, yeah, we said we'll do it through the end of April. And that's on any device that's going to connect to a VPN. I'm not just going to protect the home computer because they have one. They have to have, if we are connecting it to VPN, we're going to put our security stack on it, make sure it has Windows firewall enabled, put the full security stack on it, and then enable the VPN. We're letting them have that for our fully managed and hardware as a service clients through the end of April. During the month of April, we will reevaluate that and see if we want to continue on with offering that to them, or give it to them at a cost or just above cost, so that they can continue working on that. But if you guys aren't getting your Azure cloud pricing and everything else ready, we have a lot of clients in Nashville that never wanted to go to the cloud. And this is going to start opening up a lot of conversation of how do we allow people to work from home, and how do we do that securely? And, the first and foremost thing is we went to Office 365 with every client. And I know a lot of you guys were dragging your feet as much as I was in getting rid of that Exchange server. Well, it's time that we, go out there and start pushing more and more of our line of business apps to go to the cloud. And, but when you do that, you got to be talking security. And, I'll share a post here if you guys don't mind. It's the Office 365 lockdown guide. And I'm surprised as I'm going out, as I've been on the road show with ID Agent talking about this, and how many people didn't know this tool existed. And it's simply really easy to use. You just run it, logged in as an admin, and you get a score of how secure your Office 365 is. If you don't know what that score is and you're not protecting Office 365, then, you know, it's number one, it's a good thing to lock down yourself, your own Office 365, but educate your clients on it. And it's actually a resource that you can use for picking up new clients. So a lot of MSPs aren't using it, but as we're going out and meeting with prospects, we're running it to see exactly how low their score is. Our score was 37 out of like 512. So we sucked on security from Office 365. But get your Azure pricing, AWS pricing, whatever it is that you're going to be doing, working with cloud, looking at how do you move a lot of your clients to cloud, because they are wanting to have that conversation really soon, sooner than later, and you need to be prepared. So I don't foresee this as being a big, you know, sales boom right after this, but it is definitely going to open up the conversation and allow you to talk to your clients about this now, and they're going to want it now more than ever. So be prepared for the opportunity because it's coming.
You just posted that, I think, in the chat there. Mark did. Mark yeah,
did.
Mark's got, yeah. Okay, and Al's got AppRiver is offering an Office 365 audit as well.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I'll do. I've got the MSSP playbook it's in the last few pages of final edit. I will give anybody that MSP lockdown list as well, checklist. I'm just going to give it out to you. You don't have to buy my book. You don't have to purchase it. You know, I could care less. I'll just send it out to anybody that wants it. Just go to this site and put in your name and stuff, and I'll give you that checklist. I'll make that available for you so that you can lock down your own MSSP or your own MSP. And it also helps you on the road to becoming a security-centric MSP. So security-minded, be thinking about, you know, what's next, what's out there. But like Robin says, put your mask on first before you help your clients. And if your guys aren't overly busy, right now is a great time to lock down your MSP and better protect it, because we are a target. So there you go.
Okay, good stuff. All right. Now there were some other, I know a lot of people are asking for the tool. Mark's original link was, I think, a hack link or something because he forgot an S. Isn't that like a spoof link or something? God, you can't make this shit up, you know?
I was testing them.
Yeah. Oh, good. Anyway. Right. I don't even know what to say. Okay. So yeah. So there's that. There's some questions that are coming up, I think, also about, like, you know, sort of the stress of hanging in there. So guys, yeah, I think that, you know, again, just want to underscore, reach out to your existing clients, and maybe you don't have all the answers, but start talking to people and finding out what they need. Take a leadership position. So, Jeff, I know some of these, you're like answering the questions, you know, I guess before I can get to them, or Mark is, they keep clearing off.
I am, or Mark is. I think some of them on the technical ones. What I would say on some of them, I mean, I'll ask these couple different ones for you guys here. Hard to get 452 people to all answer of what they're using for VPN. But Alan was asking, what's everyone using for VPN? Particularly when you're talking about with the home setup that you have here. He said he's using built-in Windows Server routing and remote access, but we're trying to get away from that. Tony's saying on here, WatchGuard. I'm sure it's going to be all over the place.
It just depends on, you know, like what firewall do they have at the office. That's typically going to be your best bet. And if it supports two-factor authentication, make sure you set that up. We just put in a Palo Alto firewall a couple months back, put in VPN access, and it requires 2FA for anybody. That way, if an engineer's laptop walks away, if they leave it unlocked for whatever reason, if it gets stolen, then they still need that phone to be able to gain access to our MSP. So any safety mechanisms you can put in there. But, you know, I mean, if your clients don't have a VPN, I mean, you know, look at other services like Go to My PC or Zoho or something, so that, you know, I don't really like those kinds of products, but at least it keeps the person from exposing their home network where their kids are streaming and doing YouTube and downloading all kinds of, you know, movies from Pirate Bay. You know, just make sure that they're staying protected and they're not connecting those rogue devices into your client's network. That right there is, I know Robin said, you know, they're not looking for a lot of tips, but I can tell you business owners aren't thinking that way. And they do need at least that tip of, you know, they can circumvent every piece of security that we put into play if they connect a rogue device into a VPN and it does a sideways ransomware attack. Now we're restoring from backups and recovering because we didn't do our due diligence in teaching them that they should not connect just any device to the VPN. Our engineers know that. I've talked to our team. I said, look, no VPN gets connected to one of our managed network unless it has our security stack on it, period. So educate your team.
I was going to say, yeah, I should thank you for catching that, because I probably should have clarified. It's not that they're not looking for tips. I think it's just there's a difference between a, hey, here's a tip. Use cloths, like don't Clorox wipes on your keyboard or whatever. You know, I mean, that's it. Like they need solutions, right? That's what I meant by that is they need somebody who can say, look, this is what you need to be doing right now. Not a tip, but they need guidance. There's a difference between saying, okay, here's a little tip, you know, use LinkedIn for prospecting when working from home. Like that's a tip. But saying, let me show you how to keep your sales productive while they're working from home. See, there's a difference. And so Charles, thank you for catching that, because I should have clarified that and I didn't. And I think that's the difference is you've got to be out there bold with solutions, not just little tips is what I'm saying, you know. So definitely look, you know, these are ugly times. Let's not make it worse, you know, because you're already dealing with lost revenue, interruption to your business, maybe laying off employees, cash flow interruptions, all these things. You know, you're dealing with all this. Let's make sure it doesn't get worse. And here's what, you know, because you got people working from home. The other thing, can I address a question? So Thomas was asking about saying he wanted to send an opt-in email blast that will link someone to a white paper campaign. And so the goal would be to send an email blast to prospects, provide a link so that when they ask for the white paper, we know who they are. So I just want to make sure you guys know that sending out spam email, particularly now, is not a good idea. You know, if somebody has not opted in on your list, just randomly spamming the crap out of people is just going to irritate them even more. And that's the things you should be telling them to be aware of, is don't be clicking on spam emails, because now more than ever, here's the coronavirus breakout. You can see it happening, how many people have died today, and they're going to use that clickbait to try and spoof people. So don't be one of those guys. If you have an opt-in list, which is clients, prospects who have given you permission to email them, by all means, send them an email, and you can tell who's clicked on it. If Infusionsoft, we know who's clicked on it, we know who's downloaded it, and so forth, and then you can follow up with them appropriately. But make sure that you're playing above the line and not spamming people, because I'm getting a shit ton of spam right now, and I'll tell you what, it's really kind of irritating me because people are like trying to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, I completely agree. As I said, when we were doing this, we avoided that headline, except for the first one. You know, so if you're thinking about how to prepare for COVID-19, so fill in this form over here. We'll send you some things to do. That got people through the door initially. But again, because their chamber sent it out, we didn't send it to them. Like Robin said, don't spam. If you're going to spam,
right.
You know, Robin says this all the time. How you do anything is how you do everything, right? So if you're a spammer, already you are no disrespect to anybody on the call, but in the recipient's eyes, you're touching them in inappropriate ways for Peter if he's out there. So
well, you're part of the problem. If you're spamming people, you're part of the problem. You know, I mean, I hate spammers because we don't spam people. Like if you get an email from me, you opted in. I mean, that is the way we work. And people who send spam make it bad for all of us. And for all of you as IT pros, security professionals, should know that right now, you know, you should be telling people, be careful of clickbait, be careful of these scam emails of people trying to offer help, because that's exactly what scumbag hackers do. They wait till people are in fear and uncertainty and they're scared and they don't know what to do. So I'm not saying that's what Thomas was asking. I mean, but I just want to make sure you know, now more than ever, be legit. And I absolutely love Al's idea of going to go to groups in your industry and offer to do webinars, offer to do tip sheets, or, you know, hey, working from home, the top 10 things you need to make sure that you're aware of if your employees are working from home, and then offer to do a one-on-one consultation, a remote consultation with them, to, you know, answer any questions that they might have about employees working from home. Like, definitely do that, because then you leverage, you're a resource, you're a problem solver, you're a giver, and you go to these, you know, right now when people are frozen, give them hope. You know, I think right now, in preparing for boot camp, I am working on a session on how to get more qualified leads, and I'm going to give up the jig a little bit here, but I think part of it is, when you want to sell to prospects who know you, who are connected with you, you have an affinity with, and part of that is what you talk about to them, right? Right now, everybody's uncertain and fearful, and if you said, look, we've been handed this complete forest fire, show up with a bucket of water, you know, don't show up with another match and, you know, like, show up with some solutions. Take a leadership position and say, this is how we're going to get you through it. I'm going to show you how to use technology to let people work from home safely, securely, so you can keep things going. I'm going to show you how to use technology to protect your business as best as possible. You know, I don't think that now more than ever, people need some kind, especially business owners, they need something to hang on to. They need that help, and nobody's coming to them with that. All they see are layoffs. There's fear. They're horrified at what may come. Like, you know, you lay off people and the disruption to business. Can they even survive it? I mean, business owners, if you think people are in panic right now, there are business owners that are in serious, significant trouble right now and may not survive. Be that leader for them. Be the voice of reason and strength, and don't spam them. You know, get people you know, in your community to email and say, here's a resource. I think you guys, you know, what would be helpful. All of you know how to use Zoom meetings. I know this is pretty pedestrian and commonplace for you guys. I mean, you're on the Zoom meeting. Just even showing them how to do a Zoom meeting, saying, have you thought about doing a webinar? Have you thought about maybe, you know, instead of your sales reps now not being able to go out, like, you know, there's some sales reps that they've grounded. They won't even let them go visit their customers, right? They're saying stay home. You know, instead of missing out on that commission, show them how to use LinkedIn and a Zoom meeting and a webinar. I know that sounds completely like, well, who wouldn't know how to do that? But people don't know how to do that. You know, I mean, my neighbor down the street when I was walking the dog is one of the top financial experts in Nashville, okay? This guy is not dumb, and he's got a shit ton of money. And I'm walking the dog down the street, and he stops me, and he says, hey, I know you're in IT. I really ought to, I need to pick your brain on how to do maybe some remote meetings or something. Like, he's talking about like a Zoom meeting or a GoToWebinar. He's like, I know you're pretty good at that stuff. Like, and this guy, I mean, so we tend to take this for what we're doing right here with the cameras and the tech. We think this is like, you know, we do this every day. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to do this. Show them how to do it. And even if it doesn't lead to a managed services contract, even if it has nothing to do with that, you're still helping them get through this tough time by being a resource and a leader versus just, you know, not communicating at all.
So did you give him my name, Robin?
No, I'm gonna charge that sucker, man. I got a lot of money I gotta make up right now. Holy shit, no advice for free around here. I'm charging my kids, you know? Yeah, ain't no free lunch around here, baby. Come on, I got to make it up. No, I'm just kidding. No, I didn't. No, he just wants to know how to do a webinar. That's what he wants to know how to do. I mean, like, I'm like, okay, it's not hard, but yeah, sure.
It's a perfect example, though,
I mean, the people really don't.
Yeah.
There's just so many that don't. One of the things that we offer as part of our goodwill campaigns is hosting virtual events, because they don't have subscriptions to Zoom. B, they don't know how to use it. If they did, just try to figure out how to share their screen. If they haven't moused over the bottom of the screen, they don't get the little pop-up that says share, and they're literally putting in a tech support ticket for it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, go out there and show people how to do a Zoom meeting, and they're going to have questions like, well, what kind of camera do I get, and how do I test it, like, and how do I record this, and do I use my phone, or do I use the computer speakers, or I'm telling you guys, just going through a basic thing like that and showing people how to use Zoom or GoToMeeting or whatever, WebEx, there's tons of solutions to do a virtual sales call. I mean, like, they're going to be blown away. They can get face to face with their customers and not have to just take the hit.
And that's literally the difference between being a resource and being an operating expense.
Right.
You're either a cost center or you're a resource. And if you're going in there and helping them do these things, you're a resource. If they're just writing a check and never hearing from you, I promise you're going to be on the chopping block. Or just wait till they get one of my emails.
Mm-hmm. Here's another thing I'll just say, guys. This is a good time to remember what business you're in. You think you're in the computer business, the IT business, and you're not. Give yourself a bigger meaning for the business that you're in. Even like I'm dealing with a guy who's redoing my closet. Now, if I talk to the guy who's redoing my closet, he thinks he's in the closets business, and he's not. He's in the making my home more enjoyable, beautiful, peaceful business. He's in the every time I walk into that closet, I'm excited business. He's in the, making you feel, good about yourself business, right? So you've got to kind of also, this is a good time to remember what business you're in. You guys are in the solution business. You're in the, when the shit hits the fan, we're the guys who run into the fire, not run away from it business. That's what we are. I mean, and I really mean it. I think this community, IT professionals, IT companies, you guys, if any business knows how to figure shit out, you guys know how to do this. You do it all the time. You deal with complex, dynamic situations day in and day out. You guys aren't running a carpet cleaning business, for God's sake, where it's kind of stays the same. The technology hasn't changed in about 10 years. I mean, you're constantly dealing with change and uncertainty and new things. So rely on those skills. You guys know how to do this, and things that you take for granted of how you're running your business remote and with Zoom meetings and with technology. I mean, bring that to your people. You're going to be shocked at how much they don't know and how much you can help them just by helping them with the most basic things.
Oh, well, I think most of the questions that we have right now are just some of the, how about this software tool or that software tool? And I'd recommend as part of that, you guys have the queue to be able to post out there. And if you're struggling with some of this, I'm sure you can find your way to Charles or Al for it. But you've got the tools on the queue. You've got the vendor directory that you have out there as well. Use those tools. Use the community here. If you don't have it locked in, then I'm sure there's a lot that are out here on the community, not just Charles and Al, that can give their input around that. And so I'm not going to go through every different, we could probably be here for 2 hours talking about every different software tool around this, and we'd get 2 opinions. And then 3 people on here that don't necessarily have an opinion, because we just take whatever we have.
Well, Jeff, don't forget, if you do have a staff of engineers, even if it's 1 engineer or 2 engineers, a lot of times, I mean, my guys are smarter than I am. They know a lot more about some of this stuff. So when I went to, talk about this in the original, in the beginning, I was like, okay, we're going to have a lot of users working from remote. What are some of the things that we need to be looking at? And so we collaborated as a team to make sure that we were all on the same page. And then we kind of set out, here's a checklist of things that we need. And all of our guys have that, and they know that. and we're in better communication. And, empower your team to help you if you have one. And definitely, if you've got an accountability group, lean on them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Debbie just posted it up here, but for any of you that wanted to go back there, if you missed some of the early parts of the call, we will have this call posted up on the dashboard under the how-to series. Debbie said by this evening, she'll make sure that it's posted up here so you can go back and review it. Or if you know someone else that needs this as well, then definitely share it with others within the community here. But with that, I think we'll wrap things up. Any last words, Robin, other than
two things? Okay.
Oh.
One thing I thought of, what?
I thought you were just doing peace, like peace out.
Peace. Yeah, like put them, like the booger pickers up your nose. No, two things. Keep them out of your nose. That's how coronavirus starts. You know that by now, right? Stop it. Okay. No, wait. I got good. No, this is good. Okay. So one thing I'd say is, guys, one thing I would say is, you know what we could do for all of you who are now in a negotiation with your clients? Do you think, Jeff, it would be worthwhile if we shared with everybody the session that Chris Voss did at a producers club? And he did it at a producers club, and he did one at boot camp. Like if we shared with people some of the conversations with Chris Voss on how to negotiate, because you might have a client coming to you going, hey, we want to get out of this contract, and you may need to be negotiating with vendors and whatnot. And so that may be a resource, and why don't we make sure we post that up? I'm even wondering, and I got to think about this, because we had a conversation this morning with Chris, and he was helping us in a real world situation and negotiating with our vendors. And I got to think about that, because there's a lot of confidential information.
I think it probably makes more sense of doing the one that's the boot camp session. And then also the workshop you did at Producers Club, because there's more context there. So I'm thinking about sharing that with all the members if you guys would want that. It sounds like some people are saying yes, and so if that's helpful, I think it's a good time to brush up on your negotiation skills, because scared people do stupid things, and clients could be coming to you scared, and if you're not prepared for that negotiation, as the saying goes, the most dangerous negotiation you'll ever be in is the one you don't know you're in, right? And so a client calls up wanting to cancel contract, not pay you, whatever it is, you want to be prepared for that, okay? So we'll share that with everybody. The other thing I'm thinking about, and please tell me if you think this is a good idea, I could very easily do a session on how to sell remote, because I'm great at, I say I'm great, this is like, pat myself on the back, but I'm pretty damn good at selling remote through webinars, through LinkedIn, through videos, through whatever it is, and just saying, like, we sell all of our stuff. We're a $23 million a year marketing firm, and we sell almost exclusively remote through Zoom meetings, through webinars, and everything else. And so that comes with a lot of credibility. I can talk about things that we're doing that would, how do you sell remote, and that would help some of you. But if you wanted to invite your clients to it as a resource, I would not sell anything. I honest to God, I would not. I don't even know how we would do it. I don't even want your clients' email addresses. I don't want that. We can record it, and you can disseminate it however you want. That's the point, is just to help you guys out, because I can say whoever invited you to this, I could tell them the situation, that we're a marketing firm, we run mastermind groups, I'm doing this for our clients, so they're sharing this out, but here's some ideas about how do you maintain revenue and continuous sales during a time when you're in crisis, and go back to the person who invited you, and they can show you how to set up these virtual meetings and do email broadcasts and stuff like that, because I think that would, drive a little bit more back. So if that's something of interest to you guys, I'd be happy to do it. It's not hard for us to do at all. We really know how to Zoom, GoToMeeting, the technology behind it. And if we did it live, see, if I pre-record it, I'm just trying to think out loud now, but if we pre-record it, you could just disseminate it. However, if we do it live, I can take questions. And again, I don't want your client's email address, so we'll figure it out. Maybe there's a way where we can do this, and you can invite people without us getting their email or whatever. Again, I'm not in the IT business. I don't want any. I'm just something I'm thinking of as we're talking here. So I don't know if that's of interest. I'll do it.
I think it's a great idea, Rob.
Okay.
It's another
We'll see what we
value
can come
add.
up.
There's a lot of them in there.
A value add to our clients. I mean, why not? What's it going to hurt us to send out another link to a video that's a resource that can help them in their business?
Right. And I mean, I'll share my story of what's going on in my business right now with what we're dealing with, you know, and what we're doing. Because we're like, think about it. You know, another message I can share is that is asking, where's the opportunity and what do you do now? You know, because a lot of people are just rolling over. They're going, well, you know, shit, I guess we're just going to take the loss. And I'm going, how do we figure this out? And I'm using technology to figure this out. We're doing a virtual event, which is a technology solution, right? So I think it would seem very well, because I could say, here's what's going on. Here's how we're recouping. We're making it even better. I mean, guys, you know, because when we announced we were doing it virtual, so check this out. We have over 2,000 people now registered for boot camp. So think about that. Like, we went from we literally doubled, because all the people who were overseas, international, they weren't going to be able to come. There's people that couldn't come because of their immune system or you know, they had people near them that they didn't want to expose, and some people just scared to come. You know, some of you are like diehards. I mean, you're licking all the doorknobs on the way here going, you know, bring it on. I don't care. I'm coming. But like, the point I'm making is, like, all of a sudden now, because we use technology, we went from being, holy shit, we could lose everything, to this could be 10 times better. And that's what being sophisticated and smart about technology can do for you. And I could just tie it right back to all of you. Say, the people that are on who invited you here, go back to them. They have solutions. Don't come to me. Look, guys, I honestly don't have anything to sell. I mean, I'm not trying to sell them anything, but I think it might help you. If that would, I would be happy to do it.
Cool.
So we'll figure it out.
No, it's great. It provides an opportunity to be another valuable resource to them.
Yeah, or you guys do it for your clients. If you know how to do it, you don't have to wait for me to do it. Just do it for your clients. Show them how to do remote sessions, and you know, you don't need me to do it. I'm just offering, because I know some of you are up to your eyeballs in alligators, and you know, this is like, you know, this is as routine as brushing my teeth. I mean, it's like not going to take me a lot of work to put something together like that, particularly since I'm not selling anything. See, if I was selling some stuff, then I'd do some serious prep, because I'd have to think about positioning and all. But if I'm just getting on and sharing, here's what we're doing, then that's easy. I mean, that's very simple. And I'm not selling them Infusionsoft. No, I see you, Charles. I'm not set up for it. Like, honestly, you sell them Infusionsoft. I mean, we're set up to sell MSPs Infusionsoft. Outside of that, we're not doing onesie twosies. I don't want any part of that. We're not even set up for it. So again, I'm telling you, I don't have anything to sell them. I would just purely be doing it to try and help all of you guys as best as I can. All right, we'll discuss. I don't know, Jeff, anything else?
Nah, you know, I think we're good. Thanks all for hanging on. And, you know, if you need anything, we are here to help with this. I'll make sure that we get Debbie with that Chris Boss. She's going to get a quick email or some words on it to be able to send it out to everyone. So if you're on this call, you'll get an email on it, hopefully today here, if not today, tomorrow, of exactly where that is for negotiations.
And remember, if you're not communicating with your clients, your competition is.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
I've already seen
guys are
emails
awesome.
I've seen emails from my clients that competition has sent to them. So
Yeah.
I know
That's
it's
why you need
happening.
to make phone calls, people. Call your clients.
Communicate.
Well, you know, New York's on lockdown. Maybe some of Al's buddies can come down to Nashville and take care of those people, send those emails. You know what I mean? They're, you know, dirty deeds done dirt cheap right now, right?
Yeah, you all go down there. I'll take care of your clients up here.
Yeah.
We called
Hey, I'm from Philly. I know people. All right.
we called that a white van service.
Exactly. Go sneeze on their doorknobs. Yes.
All right.
I'm going to get hate mail for that one. Okay.
We don't need more hate mail for you, Robin. We're good.
Bring it, baby. I need newsletter content. Now, you don't know. It just encourages me. I love it.
Howard
Okay.
Globa says he's got a guy too, so if you need it.
Oh, I bet he does. Yeah, Howard.
Hey, he's my guy.
Pimping him out. Perfect.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Bye.
Be safe out there.